All right, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the meeting for the Washington County Commissioners. At this time, we always start our meetings with an invocation, and today's invocation will be given by Tim Martin with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, formerly known as Mormons. And then, please proceed.
Please join me in prayer. Our Father in heaven, we're so thankful this day that we can gather in this wonderful land, in this wonderful part of the United States to conduct the business that needs to be conducted. We pray for thy inspiration to be among the commissioners and those who might present this day, that they might remember those things that they wanted to say, that they might be inspired to make good choices, that they might be led to learn those things that will help the money that is spent and the actions that are taken be correct. We're thankful for the moisture that we've received in this part of our country and this piece of our world. We pray thy continued blessings of more moisture as we can certainly use the water. We're thankful for those who serve us and the commission staff, all those who labor so hard to bless us and to make our lives richer. We're thankful for the opportunity we have to gather and to freely express our opinions in this great land. And these blessings we ask as we dedicate this time to thee in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Today's Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Lieutenant Colonel Dave Walters with the Marine Corps.
Marine Corps League. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to personally thank both of you for your service to our community. This time we proceed to the consent agenda, which is a means of expediting routine matters which comes before the commission for approval. Consent portion of the agenda is approved by one non-debatable motion. If any commissioner wishes to remove an item from the consent portion of the agenda, that item becomes the first order of business on the regular agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve auditor-approved claims for payments from August 22nd, 2018 through September 4th, 2018. Approve regular commission meeting minutes of August 21st, 2018, and work meeting minutes of August 22nd, 2018. Approval of administrative adjustments for real property. Approval of administrative adjustments for personal property. Approval of application for property tax abatement. Approval of our worker housing project change order for smoke or fire and smoke damper, power and alarm, and approval of appointment of county commissioner representatives to the Utah County's indemnity pool, appointing Commissioner Dean Cox effective September 4th, 2018, and an acknowledgement of the publishing of the notices of ordinance 2018-1119-0 and ordinance 2018-1120-0 published on Saturday, August 25th, 2018. That is my motion.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Proceed to our regular agenda items for consideration. The first item is presentation of the Washington County financial statement from Hinton Burdick. Please come up and state your name.
Good afternoon. My name is Mike Spilker. I'm a partner with Hinton Burdick CPAs, and I'm here to present the county's audit today. We'll be going over the 12 months ended December 31, 2017. And I believe you have a copy of that financial statement. I'm gonna go through that, just a few pages, and then we're also gonna quickly go through some of these graphs that we've handed out. Appreciate the opportunity to be here this afternoon. Again, my name is Mike Spilker. Crimson Singleton's here with me. She's the manager in charge of the county's audit. Here to back me up if you have any really sticky questions that I can't answer. Appreciate her being here. We appreciate the opportunity to work for the county. It's been a pleasure working with your staff again this year. Our opinion letter on the audited financial statements is found on page 1 2 and 3 of the bound document you have there. This opinion is the result of our audit on the financial statements themselves. We look at the financial statements, the way they're put together, the footnotes, the disclosures, and the underlying numbers that support that, and issue an opinion as to whether or not those are stated in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And we've issued what we call an unmodified opinion or a clean opinion. Also, in connection with a local government audit in the state of Utah, we're required to look at the county's internal controls over financial reporting, and then also compliance over laws and regulations. And our reports in that regard are found on pages 105 through 108. And basically those reports are also clean opinions or unmodified opinions. There are no reported instances of non-compliance, or there were no material weaknesses, no significant deficiencies over internal controls. So great report again this year for the county. It's always nice to report when there's positive things to go over. So let's start by looking at page 5. That's the first page of what we call the management's discussion and analysis, and it kind of provides a quick overview of what happened in 2017. It indicates there that sales tax revenues have increased to 10.1 million. That's up from 7.56 million in 2016. Your transient room taxes increased also from 6.81 million to 7.85 million. And restaurant taxes increased also from 2.875 to 3.08 million. If you turn to page 15, this is an overall financial statement. It's what we call a government-wide financial statement. And this is the statement of activities, or like an income statement in layman's terms. And this is put together so that it shows you all of the expenses by function listed on the left on that first column there. So it lists out all of the major programs of the county, such as general government, judicial, health, and so forth. And then it lists the direct charges that are related to those activities, and some of your grants and contributions and so forth, and then you end up with the shortfall there. So, and then down below that, we see what we call general revenues or tax revenues that support those shortfalls. So you get a kind of an idea of the cost of each program that way, and then, you know, the tax revenues and so forth that come in and support that. So another important line item to look at there is towards the bottom of the page on page 15. It says change in net position in that first column is $6,135,000. I don't know if you can see that, but changes in your net assets. It's kind of a governmental way to talk about equity, if you will, assets minus liabilities. But changes in those net assets can be an indicator of the financial stability or well-being of the county over time. So that's a good thing to report, that there's a positive change there. There's obviously other things to consider outside of just the financial numbers, such as conditions of roads and so forth, but that in itself is a positive thing to note. Just a couple of other things that might be of interest. If we look at page 45, we're talking about some of the capital assets of the county. There was the major additions in 2017. We added about $3.4 million to the regional park and land improvements out there. We had that significant addition. And then if you turn the page over to page 46, this recaps all of the long-term debt of the county there on that page, and it shows the beginning balances and retirements and so forth. But one significant thing to note there is that the Series 2012 refunding bonds are now paid off. And as you can see, just the principal portion of that on an annual basis was $765,000. So that will be, debt service savings going forward for the county. One more thing to note, just in the documents here, probably of interest, on page 66, the back, there's a budget and actual financial statement for the general fund. And the general fund accounts for all activities of the county that really can't be separated into some sort of other special revenue fund. So if you look at the bottom page 66, we see that county budgeted to receive $27.5 million, but the actual revenues that came in were $29.3 million. So we're over by 1.7, which is good. And then on page 69, kind of towards the top of that page, we see total expenditures. In the general fund, we're budgeted at $25 million, but the county only expended $24 million. So controlled expenditures to the tune of approximately $1 million favorable budget variance there. So another really positive thing to note for the year. As you have a chance to go through this document and you have any questions, feel free to give myself or Crimson a call or shoot us an email. We've got our information on the front of the graphs that we're going to look at real quick. And just in the interest of time, I think I'll go through these pretty quickly. This mainly just shows its reporting, if you look on page 1, kind of the trend over the last 5 years, 2013 through 2017. And we can see that, the county's growing basically by looking at these graphs. We see the general fund cash and fund balance has gone from about 4.2 million to 5.9 million. Revenues and expenses back in 13 were close to 24 to 25 million, and now they're at 28 to 29 million. And if you look at page 2, kind of a recap of assessing and collecting, same type of growth trends are reported there. Started out with 2 to 3 million in cash and fund balance and assessing and collecting, and that's gone up as well. As same with the revenues and expenses. We look at page 3, travel board fund, similar type of situation from 6 and 7 million up to 9, 10 million cash and fund balance, and expenditures up as well from 3 to 4 or 5 million to 8 to 9 million. I'm going through these kind of quite fast. If you have questions, we can go through those, but the capital projects fund is also another significant fund of the county, page 4 there, and again, a very substantial growth in the number and the amount of capital projects of the county. We're going from about 6.5 million in 2013 to about 15 million or more in 2017. Okay, then municipal service fund, page 5, again, similar trends, 3.5 million to 4.5 million or more. And then finally, the recreation fund, similar, 3.4 million to closer to 5 million there in that activity. On page 7, we have a new fund that was established in 2015 called the Corridor Preservation Fund. And the revenues and expenses there are not going to be consistent because that fund was those revenues and transfers were received in 2015 to establish that fund, and then going forward, we'll probably see that normalize a little bit. Then finally, the last 2 pages here are taking a look at the county's fund balances. And fund balance is the modified accrual basis, or the governmental accounting terminology for equity, but modified accrual is closer to a cash basis than full accrual. So this fund balance is not cash, but it's cash plus and minus the current liabilities and current receivables, so it's close to that.
So on this, it says Iron County, is that just
Supposed to be Washington.
that
Yeah,
typo?
sorry about that.
Just want to make sure.
I thought Iron County was really well heeled.
Yeah, they are.
Then I crossed it out and wrote Washington.
We left one thing in there, see if you
See.
if you were awake and catching that, so good job. All right, so you kind of look there, you can see the numbers side by side, but also the bar chart there, you can see the increases from year to year from 2016 to 2017. And these are just all the significant funds. I believe it's like everything over $4 or $5 million in fund balance. So pretty healthy fund balances and positive fund balances. We don't see any deficits there, no findings in that respect. And then the last page is just all the other funds, some of the smaller funds of the county. And I believe there's like 12 to 14 total funds there that we're looking at. I didn't count them up, but same type of situation there with a lot of these. Some of these, as they go down, state law has minimum and maximum fund balances, so you don't want to expect to see these continue to grow, but on the other hand, you don't want to see deficit fund balances either, so. And on that last page with another positive note, I don't know if there are any questions for us, or?
I just want to make sure that Kim Hafen was polite and, courteous as you were working with him.
They keep coming here in spite of me.
We appreciate Kim
And your firm as well.
Thank you. And we really appreciate the staff here. It makes a really big difference as to efficiency and how quickly things are done. Some might wonder, well, this is September and we're talking about a December year end, but the bulk of the audit, the actual county's financial statement numbers are finished before the end of June. And copies of that draft are given to the bonding companies and so forth. And then after that, the county, you can see these listed on page 28 and 29 and 30, but there's like well over a dozen what we call component units of the county, the separate districts that are within the county that have to be rolled in here. So we finish things up at the end of June. Then we kind of have to wait for those to roll in and finalize the report. So that's why we're here at this point in time, if anybody had a question on that.
So they're sometimes just a little slower getting their information turned in, and so that's why it takes us sometimes a day or two in August to
Correct.
get this all.
Yeah, and some of the smaller districts, they don't have the capacity to really get those things in as quick as some of the other districts. So kind of where they're at with some of those things.
Well, I always ask this when an auditor comes. Did you, was there anything that you saw that might raise a red flag, or you thought, oh boy, I'd like to look into this a little bit more, or?
No, we generally go through a pretty detailed planning, analysis, and risk assessment at the beginning of the audit, and look through preliminary trial balances and talk to the staff, and then we do fraud questionnaires and things like that, and to my knowledge, nothing, correct, yeah. There was nothing that really came out. Then we kind of try to prove that as we go throughout our field work, and again, nothing really came up, so. Keep in mind, it is an audit, and we don't look at 100% of the transactions, but, you know, we do a thorough job and take a pretty close look, so. Hopefully that
Yeah.
answers your question.
If you were me, would you sleep at night? That's what I'm really trying to ask here.
No. I don't think I could be a county commissioner and sleep. I appreciate you, all the elected officials, and admire you for what you do. It's something that would be, you know, would keep me up at night. But on a financial aspect, I think, yes, I would.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Feel free to bring a clean audit anytime.
We don't have to accept this. Okay.
Commissioner? can I-
Yes, Mr. Hapron.
We are very grateful for our relationship with Hinton Burdick as they come in and audit. Crimson's the one that's here with her staff usually, and we appreciate their thoroughness. They ask the questions, and we hope that we're good stewards for them. But we don't just see them in March and April and then again now. Whenever we have a question, if we think we're going to do something new or different, they're our first phone call to make sure that we're not going to do something that's outlandish and not appropriate. So we use them throughout the year, and we're very appreciative of their good help and advice to us as we kind of prepare those statements for them. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim.
Yeah.
for-
It always amazes me
Doing
with
that.
Kim, especially a guy that doesn't have a cell phone. But how you walk in and ask him any question, and it's not like, hey, I'll get back with you. It's like, oh yeah, he immediately knows the answer, and then he can pull it out. Anyway, appreciate you, Kim.
You should probably check the accuracy of that stuff I'm telling you.
Well, that's why we have Mike here.
That's right.
So thank you, Mike.
Right. I will go ahead and go to the second item, which is consideration of purchase request by Ray Boyer.
Okay, the first purchase requisition we have today is for phase 2 for the Washington County Trails website, and that is in total of $10,000. Second one we have is it's reimbursing Kane County for 7 types of radios. There's 2 different kinds, but 7 radios. And that's a total, and this is reimbursing King County with grant funds. And that's $15,099.70. The next one we have is for a new fire engine for Rockville and Springdale. And this purchase will be repaid when the loan is secured. We're just kind of fronting the money on that one for $596,629. And the last one we have is for contracted hotel rooms for the tour of Utah, and that was a total of $12,215.12. But we will be reimbursed for the sales tax on those from the state. And unless there's any questions, that's all on that.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to approve the purchase request as submitted by Ray.
Mr. Chairman, I'll
Today's agenda.
second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Item number 3, consideration of disposal of sheriff's office motor pool vehicles.
There are 14 vehicles at the sheriff's office that are considered surplus at this time. And we are working on the sheriff's office, I guess, is working on a deal with St. George Ford to trade in these 14 vehicles for some newer ones, or new ones, I guess. And that's all on that.
Sorry, I'm just here in case you have questions. We've done this in the past, probably 3 or 4 years. with Ford, typically we get such a good trade-in value with them that they usually win the bid. In this case, we've committed so much of our resources to using the Ford vehicle that we now have so many cages, light bars, and those kind of things that are specific to the Ford vehicle that we didn't outsource to the Chevy, all the other dealers for that specific reason, because we have so much equipment that's dedicated to that specific vehicle. And each police package generally is significantly expensive to do that, $5,000 or $6,000 to outfit one vehicle. So to roll that price in is kind of absurd, and that's why it was done this way.
So, the savings by using light bars and things like that are Ford specific, you're confident that
Very,
that more than offsets any price difference on?
very confident. Plus we looked at the different packages between like a Chevy and a Ford, and you wouldn't think there's that much difference between state bid, but there is a significant difference between the two. And we've had really good results with our Ford product since 2011. They've been phenomenal. So, and then this is just we are minimizing the fleet somewhat here because we have bought a transport bus, converted one from the Council on Aging. And the way we're doing business now, we're doing bigger transports, less vehicles. So we don't need the fleet that we once had. We're kind of downsizing a bit to do that. That's why there's 14 vehicles being traded in.
Commissioners, just to clarify something, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, significant price difference. Is the Chevy significantly less money?
So I'll give you an example. So we looked at Tahoes because the Tahoe is a very good vehicle for, say, a K9 kind of thing. It's about $5,000 more on state bid to get a Tahoe versus an Expedition or an Explorer. So to offset those two, it's just not worth purchasing that Tahoe up front. In addition to, I also have to buy the equipment that goes with it. So whatever money we saved, we kind of lost buying the equipment.
I was just clarifying that the Ford bid was less money.
True. It is less money.
They do recycle the equipment and the vehicles if they can.
Right.
So we're saving money there too.
Clark?
All that you guys are approving today are the disposal of properties, so then the local Ford dealership will carry a credit for us when we go in the next, we traditionally purchase Ford vehicles from them at the state contract bid price. And so this isn't to acquire anything, which is why it didn't come through on purchases with Ray. It's just to trade these in.
Surplus.
To surplus. And then the nice thing about that is that they've included Kelley Blue Book, or that they checked Kelley Blue Book. And so there is an independent third-party thing whenever you're dealing with vehicles, so that you're out there saying there is something that we have comparable price.
Very good. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the disposal of the Sheriff's Office motor pool vehicles that are listed.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Item number 4 is consideration of resolution number R-2018-2343, a resolution approving Tourism Advisory Board recommendations for funding for the Zions Canyon Musical Festival. And we have Brittany here. And do we have someone from that organization also? Okay.
This is an item that was previously tabled.
Okay, thank you.
This item was tabled from the July 10th meeting. There was some follow-up the commissioners asked for in regards to the event. The things that were asked were some additional data from the past event to support out-of-county visitation, the relationship with the town and Dixie State University, the benefits to the tourists and the town, and the long-term strategy to be self-sustaining or warrant additional county funds. And Lex Diaz-Vedo, who's here and can answer any questions that you may have, has actually provided quite a bit of the information. So we can just go point by point if you'd like, and I can tell you what the findings were or what the recommendation was from the TAB board. What would you prefer?
Why don't we go step by step?
Step by step,
Yeah.
okay. So point 1, data to support out-of-county visitation. There were 787 out-of-town participants. That's about 44% were from out of county. And that generated approximately 750 room nights to local hotels, which equals about a $275,000 economic impact from out-of-town visitors or participants. The relationship with the town and Dixie State, the town of Springdale did provide a sponsorship of $2,500. There is strong interest in a long-term relationship with the Tanner Amphitheater. They had 5 letters of support from hotel and dining businesses in the Springdale area. And there are letters of support from Springdale, the town of Springdale, and Dixie State as well. And then the benefits to the tourists in the town, it's a great visitor experience. It's absolutely an added value. It adds to nightlife and the character of Springdale. And it's also a good benefit to their residents and workers because they offer it free to residents on Friday night. So it's kind of a win-win there. And number 4, the long-term strategy is the long-term success absolutely requires out-of-town visitors. They're going to be marketing the event out of town more and more to attract those visitors to come in and stay longer. And we're going to try to spread those visitors out through Washington County. And the local marketing will decrease as the festival grows as well. So those are kind of the 4 main points. So the ROI, the economic impact is $275,000. Their marketing budget was about $12,500. So the out-of-county portion was 44%. And based on the metrics that we look at, that would probably equate to about a $5,500 sponsorship.
So is that what we're voting on today?
Yes.
The resolution before you guys
It's
is an
up to
8,000.
Up to,
8,000.
yeah.
You're recommending
Yes.
5,500?
Mm-hmm.
So just,
Thank you, Brittany.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
is this a for-profit organization?
It is.
And you guys held the
Public hearing on the 10th of July.
Hearing on
Oh, that's
July
right.
10th.
Yeah.
I was dealing with, I had a family.
I do appreciate the fact that the town and Dixie, the university have both offered their support along with the, you said there's 5 letters from hospitality.
Hotels and dining facilities in Springdale.
And they've also gone through the tab
Correct.
and through staff.
So how do we know, like, how do they measure the out-of-town participants? How do they know that they're out of town?
I think.
Thanks.
Hello, my name is Lex Diazevedo. Can I spell that for you? DEAZEVEDO. Just because we went through that last time, so. We were able to get the ticket information from the Dixie box office. And there were some notes in there that said this is how many we could calculate based off of sales on the website where we actually gather that data. And the rest is we kind of have to extrapolate the rest of the cash ticket sales because we don't have that. But I believe I put that in my notes as far as here's the range based off of what we absolutely sold, and if we interpolate that to the additional cash ticket sales, this would be the approximate number of out-of-county residents or out-of-county participants.
Are most of the out-of-county participants primarily here for Zion and then seeing this as an added extra for their stay, or are they coming down, do you think, primarily for your event?
Well, we did, half of our sales were done pre-sales, which is actually pretty high. A lot of events, it's at the door. And that percentage of the pre-sale tickets was from out, meaning we are planning on coming to Springdale to come to this event. I can't speak for any of people that pay cash at the door,
But that is a pretty good indicator that people who are not here
correct.
looking online, buying their ticket, and then coming down.
Correct. And for 2018, we've implemented a different, we're doing all the ticketing ourselves. So we should be able to track even cash sales. We're planning on at least saying, "Can we have your zip code, please?" We've already got people from Canada that have bought pre-sale tickets. We're starting to watch those tickets come in for the end of this month. So yeah, kind of exciting.
Well, I know this is a little bit different than what we've done in the past as far as review, but I think it's a good part of the process. Mr. Chairman, I'd be willing to make a motion that we support Zion Music Festival in light of information and answers that have been asked, and also in light of the letters of support that we've received from both the town of Springdale and the university.
For an amount of $5,500.
For the amount of 50.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you.
But I'd also like to note, just for the public, that we just don't give them a check for $5,500. This pays for advertising for the event, and we only pay it after we get those receipts.
Simultaneously advertised.
Yeah.
Washington.
So this is going to money saying, hey, come to Washington County because we're cool.
And we are.
And we are.
Yeah, we are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for making us cooler.
Anytime. Right, go to item number 5 was consideration of resolution number R-2018-2367, a resolution approving an agreement with Southwest Behavioral Health Center regarding justice reinvestment funds and our own county attorney, Brock Belknap.
Hello, Commissioners. So this resolution is approving an agreement between Southwest Behavioral Health Center and the county with regard to our new court support services program. And the court support services program is designed to provide targeted, specific treatment for people in the justice system. And that program arose from the legislature's passage of a law called JRI, or the Justice Reinvestment Initiative. That bill passed 3 years ago. And about 1 year ago, the legislature, a little longer than a year ago, about 18 months ago, the legislature passed a grant that the county applied for to start court support services. And commissioners approved funding as well. That we have a partnership with the state and with the county and with local providers to try to provide this program that helps people receive specific treatment for their substance abuse disorders as opposed to just languishing in jail and not receiving it. Well, that's all background for where we're coming to with this agreement, because 3 years ago when the legislature originally passed JRI, they appropriated a fairly large sum of money that was spread out all across the state to the various different counties. And that money is reappropriated each year. Well, that money previously was appropriated and used by Southwest Mental Health Department here in Washington County to achieve the goals of JRI. But now that we have court support services up and running, the Southwest Behavioral Health Center has agreed to funnel that money to the county directly so that we can use it in our court support services program. So that is what this agreement means. And basically it says that going forward, whatever amount of money the legislature appropriates dedicated to Washington County will be passed through to the county for use in our court support services program. The amount for this year is prorated a couple of months because the budget was passed back on the fiscal year. So the amount of money coming to court support services this year is about $200,000, proportionately larger in the future, assuming the legislature gives us the same appropriate.
Very good explanation.
I think this is fantastic. That's a great explanation. And before we vote on it, Rock, I just want to thank you for your leadership in this particular issue. As we sit on national boards and conversations about drug addiction, not only in our state, but across the country, there's no easy answer. But I really think that you've put together a really good program here. We know it's pilot. We know it's kind of test when we decided to take this on. But anyway, just thank you for your leadership. And I honestly believe that Washington County, this pilot program is as far as I know, we're probably the only county that's really trying to implement what was meant by justice reinvestment.
I think that's probably true. And a lot of the credit goes to Charmaine Gohl, our program manager. And one of the things that we're doing that I think is really important is we're collecting a lot of data. We are measuring what works. We're going to figure out if it works. And we will be able to target the dollars, which are not very many for the problem, to where they can best be used.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion in support of Resolution R 2018-2367, a resolution approving an agreement with Southwest Behavioral Health Center regarding Justice Reinvestment Fund.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Item number 6 is consideration of resolution number R-2018-2368, a resolution amending the purpose and duration of the specially funded transportation special service district in order to receive mineral lease monies. And Commissioner Cox, you
I
want to
would
take
be
the-
happy to speak to that. Commissioners, we get mineral lease money from royalties off of federal lands that funnel to the state and then from the state to the county. And the county would like, or the state wants those funds deposited into as independent entity that's not directly controlled by the county for the purpose of keeping those funds from being subtracted from other PILT payments we otherwise receive. We set the specially funded special service district up several years ago to deal with a very similar situation to keep our PILT dollars from being diminished with payments that we were getting for road maintenance. So I think that this actually is very congruent with the purpose originally set forward by the specially funded special service district. And this would just add one, and this is not a large amount of money, by the way, but it's consistent with what we already have and is a vehicle that would be suitable for keeping those funds separate from regular county road dollars and funds. Eric, did I butcher that? Maybe you got...
I think that was perfect.
Was that a motion?
I would make a motion in support of it. I think that it is really the right way to do it. So
I'll
my
second.
motion is in support of Resolution R 2018-2368, a resolution amending the purpose and duration of the specially funded Transportation Special Service District in order to receive mineral lease monies.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 7, consideration of resolution number R-2018-2369, a resolution approving a complete reduction of the 2017 property taxes for a parcel being donated to the Bureau of Land Management as part of an exchange agreement. And Commissioner Cox.
I would be happy to speak to this. I'm the commissioner with responsibility directly over the HCP. And if Cameron is here, and he is, I'd like to recognize him and his excellent stewardship of our habitat conservation program. We've had several private inholdings that have been in the HCP for about 22 years. And this particular parcel is a piece that was being donated by Bob Brennan, who has had his land locked in. And when I say locked in, if there's not a HCP trail that goes over his property, he can't even really go in and do anything else with it. So it's been available for the benefit of the residents of Washington County because this HCP has allowed us to use our other private lands that may have otherwise been encumbered with the desert tortoise on some of those lands. And so I think this is a great first step to recognize the contribution that these individuals have made, and in lieu of and because of the fact they've also made a substantial contribution of their land to that exchange, it's not all being sold. So I speak in favor and would make a motion in support of Resolution R 2018-2369, which is a resolution approving a complete reduction of 2017 property taxes for a parcel being donated to the BLM as part of an exchange agreement.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 8 is consideration of resolution 2018-2370, a resolution approving the execution of 2 agreements between Washington County, the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, which provides for monitoring of sensitive species within the county. And Cameron.
So yeah, you have 2 different contracts. The first is for monitoring of desert tortoises in the Red Cliffs Desert Reserve, and that's over a 2-year period for both 2018 and 2019. 2018, the amount is for $50,000. We're monitoring at a much reduced scale this year. Next year, though, however, it's kind of the full monitoring effort of the entire reserve, and so that amount is for $110,000. The second agreement is for monitoring of willow flycatchers along the Virgin River, which is one of the other species that we help kind of keep our eye on and fund projects. We get mitigation credit through our HCP by providing this monitoring effort of other species that are listed within the county. And the willow flycatcher is listed as an endangered species.
So Cameron, I've had a problem with this to some degree, just because why not just put this out to bid for a consultant to do the monitoring, or why not do the monitoring ourselves? Why should we be paying the state of Utah this type of money to monitor it when they control the data and we don't necessarily, know the motives? I mean, why not keep that money in-house and just put it out to bid?
I think that that's a valid question, and I think it's something you guys might want to consider further. It is an option that we can look at. There are when the HCP was made about 20 years ago, I don't think there was anybody else that was doing the monitoring, and so it was kind of written in the document that the Division of Wildlife would take that role, and they carried out that role for the 20 years of our permit duration, and that has since expired. So we decided it's probably worth keeping that partnership intact and let them continue on with that role, but I think it is open for discussion to look if there's better options out there for you.
One of the values that you're saying is that we're doing it mainly for a partnership with the state?
Correct. That's my understanding.
And there's some timing issues too. I have sat in on all of the HCAC meetings and discussed. I'm going to get a little closer to the mic. But they have employees who are stationed here in Washington County that are here because of the HCP. And if we wanted to change that relationship, one of the things that the Chris Kelleher mentioned was they'd really like some heads-up warning on that earlier, so that they could make planning adjustments for it. I do see value in the relationship with DWR, and I don't know whether it's where that price difference really is. I know this is an interlocal with another government entity, but I think we get a fair amount of benefit back from DWR. They set in on all of our HCAC meetings. They're a partner and a signatory on the HCP. So I appreciate and understand where you're coming from, and the reason that I would support keeping this with the exact same methodology would be used elsewhere in the reserve with the same people that are doing it. So I think it would, where we're trying to show comparables between the new Zone 6 and our HCP, it would make it an absolute apples and apples comparison. I think as we negotiate the renewal, though, that's clearly something we should decide how we want that done, and I think request for proposals would be a great way to make sure that the state is giving us everything we're paying.
So I guess that I know there was an issue of data, and I think you alluded to that. Has that all been resolved? Or,
Yeah, we've been getting all the data that we've requested. There was a time ago, but as of now, we have all the data that we've requested.
okay, so I'd hate to pay for work for data and then them not give it to us.
And they do report annually on their monitoring efforts each year to the HCAC committee. So we'll get both a written report and a presentation as to what they found and how it was changing over the years.
I mean, we know that, you know, Fish and Wildlife, U.S. Fish and Wildlife is responsible for the Endangered Species Act. And sometimes, though, we expect our state agencies to kind of be there as partners with the county. And what I often feel is that with DWR and with the sensitive species part of DWR is that all we have is a mini U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And so, you know, you've heard this spiel from me again. I don't have a problem with us passing this. I would like to vote against it, though, as maybe if Mr. Kelleher wants a warning shot that not all is well in Washington County with this contract, maybe my objection to this contract should be duly noted that I would expect some. I need to expect some more out of our state partners, and so.
I think I'll probably be voting for it because I like the relationship part of it, but I think you have a very valid concern that,
Yeah.
like,
I'd make a motion, Mr. Chairman, in support of Resolution R 2018-2370, a resolution approving the execution of 2 agreements between Washington County and the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, which provides for monitoring of sensitive species within the county.
Mr. Clark, you look like you want to say, you have a comment?
No.
Okay. No, I guess I'll second it. Thanks for the heads up. So I'll go ahead and second that. There's a motion, a second. Why don't we do a quick roll call vote so we don't mess things up? Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Mr. Renstrom? Aye.
No.
Commissioner Iverson? All right, going to item number 9, Commissioner's Report. Personally, don't have anything.
Peach Days was a success. Congratulations, City of Hurricane, for another successful parade and Peach Days. And I don't know how many pounds of candy we hurled at the crowd, but we took care of them, didn't we, Sheriff?
First year we haven't ran out.
Yes. I'd like to thank the sheriff, like always, for helping us
Especially.
out in the parades. Thank you.
Well, there is nothing else on the agenda, meaning we can take no other legal action. So at this time, I will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.